Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. This is chapter 2, The Pool of Tears, Alice's Adventure in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll. Let's get started. The cake makes Alice grow tall, and she went on planning to herself how she would manage it. Just then her head struck against the roof of the hall. In fact, she was now more than 9 feet high, and she at once took up the little golden key and hurried off to the garden. Poor Alice! It was as much as she could do, lying down on one side to look through into the garden with one eye. After that time she heard a little pattering of feet in the distance. She hastily dried her eyes to see what was coming. It was the white rabbit returning. The rabbit started frantically, dropped the white kid gloves and the fan, and scurried away into the darkness as hard as he could go. Alice took up the fan and kid gloves, and as the hall was very hot, she kept fanning herself all the time. She went on talking. She thought must be growing small again. She got up and went to the table to measure herself by it, and found that, as nearly as she could guess, she was now about 2 feet high. That was a narrow escape, a good deal frightened at the sudden change, but very glad to find herself still in existence. And now for the garden, and she ran with all speed back to the little door, but the little door was shutting again, and the little golden key was lying on the glass table as before, and things are worse than ever. She was up to her chin in the salt water. First idea was that she had somehow fallen into the sea. However, she soon made out that she was in the pool of the tear which he had wept when she was 9 feet high. Just then she heard something splashing about in the pool a little way off, and she swam nearer to make out what it was. At first she thought it must be a walrus or hippopotamus, but then she remembered how small she was now. She soon made out that it was only a mouse that had slipped like herself. She saw a mouse that started to talk with it, but the mouse just looked at Alice. And suddenly Mouse gave a leap out of the water, and seemed to quiver all over with fright. Mouse was swimming away from her as hard as it could go, making quite a commotion in the pool as it went, because Alice talked about cats and dogs, which Mouse didn't like it. Alice won't talk about cats or dogs either if Mouse don't like them. When the mouse heard this, it turned around and swam slowly back to her. Its face was quite pale, and it said a low, trembling voice, "Let us get the sorrow, and then I'll tell you my story, and you'll understand why I hate cats and dogs." That's all for chapter 2. Come back for chapter 3. Thank you.